So it's been about a week since we got that absolutely insane cinematic setting up Year 8 of Rainbow Six Siege lore. We got to see redhammer and ghosteyes in action, we actually got to see some of the stolen nighthaven gear being put to use, but the climax of this already insane cinematic, we see the brand new villain Deimos kill the director of Team Rainbow, Harry Pandey. And this is a big thing for a lot of reasons. I do feel like Deimos kind of represents a part of the community that didn't really like what happened after Harry took over. I mean, I think this is very telling right now as well, considering that we didn't get a stadium event for this year, and it just kind of seems like Ubisoft are kind of moving away from that and they are going to try and return to form. And I think with a brand new villain who does have a motive is a really good start. And I think with the death of Harry, as much as I liked him as a character, is the end of that era. So Deimos is also a very poetic name as well, because he is the personal god of dread and terror in Greek mythology. And we do know a large part of Harry's lore was setting up the stadium, which is in Greece. So it is very fitting that the character that brought Greece to the forefront of Rainbow Six lore was killed by a man going by the alias of a Greek god. So what do we know about Deimos? Well, we know he was a former Rainbow operative of some kind, whether he was on the field, whether he was a leader, but it is clear that he did have a past with Harry considering how personal this interaction was before he killed him. Now the main line we should focus on from Deimos in the cinematic is this one.
Rainbow used to be feared in my time. A covert unit of apex killers. And you turned it into the fucking ice capades. You disgraced my unit, Harry.
He claims that Rainbow used to be feared in his time, and that Harry disgraced his unit. So when he speaks like that, it sounds like he was a leader of some sort. Now I've seen a lot of people throwing around the theory that maybe it's Domingo Chavez. According to the R6 wiki, Rainbow Six Siege does take place in the main timeline for the R6 universe. So that would mean that John Clark was 6 between 1999 and 2010, then between 2010 and 2012 it was Domingo Chavez, then between 2015 and 2019 it was Aurelia Arnaud, and then between 2019 and 2023 it was Harry Pandey. So from the way Deimos is speaking, it does sound like it was one of the previous sixes. It's clearly a male, so it's not Aurelia, so I guess it could be John Clark or Ding Chavez. But from the way Deimos is speaking, what would their motives be to kill every operator? Okay, fair enough, you got beef with Harry for disgracing the unit, which let's be honest, Harry didn't do. He actually made the operators stronger than ever and helped them lead themselves. And okay, fair, that's what Deimos believes and he takes out Harry because of that, but why would he then now go on to kill every operator? Because that's what Deimos said his goal is. I don't really see the end goal for John Clark, who's really old at this point, and Ding Chavez. Like, I don't see what endpoint just wiping out the entirety of Team Rainbow would be. So I'm gonna say I don't think it's Ding, I don't think it's John, I honestly don't think it's any old existing Rainbow character. I'm gonna say that I believe that Deimos is just going to be a brand new character and he's gonna have a brand new backstory. He's probably gonna be a character that was just working in Team Rainbow years ago in the background, we didn't really need to know who he was, and he's going to be written into the lore that way. It's actually not really a good idea to take an old existing good guy character and turn him into a villain now. You have a very high chance of upsetting the audience because a lot of people are probably going to be annoyed that one of their childhood heroes are now being used as a villain. So I do actually think that Deimos is going to be a new character when we finally get to learn who he actually is, but we can still theorize who he's going to be. Now, if he was an operative who, you know, watched the squad, worked with the squad, saw how they operated, and didn't really like it when Harry took over, they could potentially write in that Deimos was a recruit. I mean, recruits have existed ever since Team Rainbow got reactivated by Aurelia, and of course recruit isn't just one character, it's a number of unnamed soldiers. So it honestly couldn't be that far-fetched that Deimos was a recruit back when Team Rainbow was reactivated and he saw what was happening firsthand to the team. He left and started to get into some shady business and started to take his revenge on Team Rainbow. But I am really interested to see what happened to Deimos because this is personal, you know? Not only did he kill Harry, but he said he's going for every operator as well. I mean, we did see in the cinematic as well them attempt the life of Ash, Thermite, Kavera, Zofia, and Sledge, who, for the record, are 100% still alive. No way they have killed those operators off. But the fact that he is going for over 60 of like the world's most elite operators, something bad must have happened to this guy. I wouldn't be surprised if he was like a recruit who actually got like left behind on a mission, or he had to be left behind and he like got, you know, severely scarred or something like that. Now he's on this like massive revenge story with this new villain arc. But whoever he is, we do know that he has money and that he has soldiers working for him. Now the way that nighthaven fall all into this is purely the fact that they use nighthaven as bait. The conflict that nighthaven had with Rainbow was purely between them, that had nothing to do with Deimos as far as I'm aware. But the moment they had that conflict, they used that to strike by stealing nighthaven gear and then setting it up that nighthaven are assassinating people, getting Rainbow on nighthaven's tail, leaving all these little breadcrumbs into baiting these operators to actually going to that place where his attempt was to kill him. Like I said, I don't think these operators are dead, but this was an attempt on their life. Now the question is as well, were these people who were using the nighthaven weapons actually part of Deimos' crew? The ones in the commanding force cinematic look quite high tech and look like they have some money behind them, whereas the one in the CGI cinematic for year 8 kind of look like they're just your everyday gangsters. I think the ones in the CGI cinematic were purely just a little militia who were sold nighthaven gear, and this is why Rainbow got on their ass, and Deimos didn't mind if they died either because he's not working for them, and that's why there was a bomb there, and basically if these people died, that's perfectly fine. They were purely just a militia who got caught up in the middle of this conflict, and the weapons were actually bait for Rainbow. So it is still yet to be told if we will actually learn Deimos' real identity in the future. I do imagine they are going to keep him for a villain for at least a good few years right now. If we're going to be honest, if they do end up killing him, they're probably going to have another villain take his place anyway, so it makes sense to keep him as the main one, especially since it seems like his motives are personal. Now I guess we could propose another theory that he was actually a member of the White Masks, who was a terrorist organization which Rainbow did defeat, but he was one of the surviving members of this group and saw firsthand what Rainbow was like in action. But once again, it all comes down to that line, it says my unit. Rainbow was something personal to Deimos at one point, but to what extent we are yet to learn. So we will be learning more about this story as it unfolds. The next piece of lore we will be getting will be the battle pass for Operation Commanding Force, and then after that it is most likely going to be the mid-season comic, and then after that it will be the cinematic for year 8 season 2. I also want to talk about a little theory as well where a lot of people have compared him to Walker from Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Of course it isn't Walker because the lore just doesn't make sense around that because he was never part of Rainbow, and a lot of people are saying that their designs look very similar, and I won't lie, I do think they do look pretty similar, and I guess he could actually be part of a faction of the Wolves from Ghost Recon, and that would be kind of a way to bridge those two games together, the same way that Splinter Cell is now linked to Rainbow Six as well. And I honestly do believe with the new Splinter Cell remake of the original game as well, they are going to progressively make it linked to Sam Fisher and Siege a bit more as well. But I guess making him part of the Wolves from Ghost Recon would kind of make sense, that you could keep them separately in different factions, so although Deimos is part of the Wolves, they wouldn't have to link to Ghost Recon directly other than the fact that they are Wolves, so you can still keep those lores separate, but they are linked in that sense. And that would explain where all this funding is coming from and how he has like this big cargo ship with all this stolen money and stuff on it. But at this current point in time, we don't know who Deimos is, or we know that he had links to Rainbow in the past. For now, we can only theorize, and I would like to hear your guys' theories. Who do you think Deimos is? Do you actually think that he is Ding Chavez or John Clark? Do you think he's a completely new original character and they're going to write a brand new backstory for him? Or do you think he has a link to the White Masks or the Wolves from Ghost Recon Breakpoint? Very interested to hear your thoughts, so be sure to drop a like on this video if you did enjoy, subscribe if you are new. Have an incredible rest of your day. I love you all. Stay safe. Peace.